Welcome to Web3 and Me, presented by FLOLiO. I'm your host, Jeremy Weber, and if you're a regular with us, you'll notice that this intro is a little more subdued because at this moment in time, I think we all need a little bit of calm. So before I introduce my co-host, I want everyone to take a few deep breaths, okay? Daniel, breathe with me. Inhale. One
Deep
more.
breaths, deep breaths.
Inhale. All right, so we've taken a few deep breaths. We're finding a sense of calm during the shit show that is every freaking market there is in the world.
Yeah,
I am
except for
joined,
wheat,
as
apparently.
always, except for wheat, yes. Wheat, not weed.
Wheat
Wheat.
with a t.
I am joined, as always, by Daniel Vondelok in the Netherlands, looking fresh, dapper as can be. Daniel, through all the shenanigans going on right now, the craziness, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right, I guess. Nothing. Haven't done anything crazy. Just I wouldn't say watching from the sidelines, but I got my money in good. Got a
Okay.
lot of stuff I'm playing the long game for, so short-term price fluctuations don't really bother me too much at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the stuff we're going to be touching on today. Everything related to this bear market and how we've been dealing with it, and some tips we can give maybe for the future. Yeah, basically everything. So yeah, looking
Yeah,
forward to
and
be talking about this.
I think the term bear market usually gets tossed around a
Yeah.
little too liberally
Hmm.
on Twitter and in NFTs, but it does, everything going on over in Ukraine and the impact that's having worldwide and still coming off the heels of the pandemic and all that, it does feel like we are in a bear market where recovery is going to take a while. Okay. So if you have not been in like a sustained bear market of any kind, just know that it's going to take a while. So as we get into it, we're not going to give direct financial advice. We're going to kind of give, how we've been handling the current state of the market, our tips for, some things that you can do to help get your mind in a better place if this is really affecting you a lot, get your collection in a better place. But, not financial advice. We're going to just give a broad overview. If you enjoy what we talk about today, please like the stream, subscribe to it, share it with your friends. So, Daniel, this is not my first go around in a bear market. I graduated college with a degree in financial planning, and I was actually
Hmm.
in financial planning school during the global financial
I
crisis in
see.
2008. So, and I had just started investing on my own like a couple years before that. So, I feel like
Yeah.
my investing time, I was like born in a bear market, and so this is kind of where I'm comfortable, and I can handle these situations pretty well. So let's talk about kind of what we're doing right now. What has kind of been your game plan? How have you been handling the last few weeks, and what are you kind of thinking moving forward?
Yeah, so how I've been handling this is mostly, like I mentioned earlier, most of my stuff is in more long-term projects right now. Like if this happened maybe 4 months ago, I think I would have been pretty like concerned. But at this point, I think I've been in this for so long. I kind of like know how everything goes. Kind of, I'm not too bothered by something going down at this point. So yeah, for me, it's mostly just been. I think I sold off maybe a month ago. I sold off most of my like short-term flip projects, and basically just like putting them all in either established projects or like long-term like play to earn stuff. So that's how I've been mainly dealing with it.
Okay. Yeah, I've been in a similar situation. I have a few kind of speculative pieces just to kind of see
Hmm.
what happens.
Yeah.
I've taken profits on the way up on most of those. We've talked in the past how you and I like to buy multiple of a project. Like I
Yeah.
know I saw you bought like the Clay Friends the other day. You picked up what, four of those,
Yeah. They've been
and
doing quite poorly, but
well, not everyone's going to be a success, but you got to take your swings at it, right?
definitely.
So these smaller speculative ones that have gone profits on the way up to kind of cover my cost basis, and so I'm holding in case one of them really rips and can be profitable. I sold some pieces on the way up back in January that have netted me a good return, and so I feel very comfortable with that. And we've discussed it in the past, the importance of keeping your head on straight in both a bear and a bull market. realizing that euphoria doesn't last forever. You gotta take profits on the way up, but that's really not the focus today. The focus is on the bear side of things. So let's jump into it and kind of first talk about when we see a bear market happening or bear market coming, we need to first look at what's causing it, and if it's isolated just to the market that we're paying attention to, whether it's like NFT, crypto, the wheat market, if these commodities, Daniel. And in a situation like this, if the stock market and the crypto markets were ripping, but the NFT market was eating shit, I would feel a little worse about it. But with everything getting beat up, I don't think this is a time to panic, although you should still make adjustments if necessary.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It gives a sense of comfort knowing this is not something like especially related to NFTs.
Yeah.
This is like a whole global thing. So if you're a little bit of a cynic in like investing in NFTs, at least like approach the market approach the market with that thought in mind. Know that this isn't specifically related to NFTs. It's just like a like a whole global thing.
It's been so funny, in my opinion, to see a lot of the big crypto Twitter accounts like bagging on NFTs right now. It's like, you realize that your portfolio is also down bad, don't you? Like, is this how you're coping with crypto, like being down over the last 6 months? It's really, it's quite something to behold, Daniel. Like, it makes me laugh every time.
Yeah, they're like, hey, at least I don't have these. At least I don't have NFTs or something.
Hey,
it's
you know
not
what?
bad.
To each their own. I'm okay sitting here playing with my silly little JPEG. So once you've kind of figured out what's causing this, which is pretty obvious at the moment, now it's time to look at what your collection is, what your portfolio, however you want to term it, and whether or not you are over invested at this time. I'm not a big fan of selling near the bottom if this is the bottom, or selling on the way down. I'd rather sell on the run up. But I also understand that if you're struggling right now, like financially because you're over invested, if you're struggling mentally right now because you can't handle seeing the prices go down, it's okay to sell. Like, it really is. Is it ideal? No, but ideal isn't always what is called for at the moment. So I think that's a really important thing too. Daniel, how comfortable do you feel like, with what you've put in, and are you feeling pretty okay with that right now?
Definitely. I think if I were to compare though my like NFT net worth and my bank account, I think I should be worried. It's not very balanced. I'll tell you that much. But like I said, I think the places where I did put my NFT money, I think that's like a safe choice. Well, not safe, but more like a sound choice. But I got not a lot of money. Like how to say that, I got a sizable Ethereum bag in general. So I think like I feel safe having it in Ethereum instead of like on my bank account in fiat.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, being over leveraged, over invested right now is not a good feeling, and hopefully something that you can learn from in the future if you are in that place. But just know that, like, if you got to sell, go ahead and sell. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Like,
no sell shaming.
No sell shaming here. Yeah. No sell shaming here. Now, another important thing to do is taking this as an opportunity to not check floor prices, but rather assess the collections that you're invested in. If you're worried about them, if they haven't really been delivering, that's an issue. Have the fundamentals of the projects that you're invested in really changed? Like, Daniel, I know for you've been invested in Oni. Those fundamentals have changed. You're invested in Wolfgame. I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, but those fundamentals don't really seem to have changed, have they?
Nope. They're still building. We're hopefully going live within the next 3 months.
Okay.
The team of Wolfgame said it was going to be launching in the first half year. And yeah, Oni that's a mess.
Yeah.
Let's just say I'm glad I got out of that stuff.
Yeah. So, it's that honest assessment of like, okay,
yeah,
if the Oni floor hasn't completely bottomed out, maybe it's time to sell this if I haven't. Whereas with the Wolfgame floor, no, I'm going to keep holding strong. I'm going to hold my wool. So taking that objective view, there are certain projects where it's really scary right now, like Cool
Yeah.
Cats. Cool Cats and Cool Pets they are
Yeah,
down
they've
so
taken a
bad right
beating.
now.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's a little concerning. Like, will they bounce back? Maybe. But at the same time, the team has really struggled to deliver in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't me fudding, because I do have like a couple of
Here it
cool
goes
pets. Like,
again.
this would be me fudding my own bag. Here we go. Here we go. But you have to be objective of like, can the team bounce back from this many missteps? And it's okay to cut your losses. You don't have to hold, stop chasing, good or bad money with good money. Okay. So that objective viewpoint of like, have they delivered on the roadmap? Am I happy with the deliveries they've made on that roadmap? And do I feel comfortable with what they have planned in the future and their ability to execute on it? So this is where you have to take the tribalistic mentality of, I've been invested in this NFT project for the last 6 months,
Yeah.
and I really love the other people in the community, but at the same time, on the financial end, is it worth hanging around if it's going to continue to bleed, right?
Yeah, that's always like a question you have to ask yourself. So not only in a bear market, but like in every single phase of the market, you have to ask yourself, like, has the fundamentals changed? Like, is the team delivering? Like it's something we touched on in the before, like the whole anchoring bias and the whole like hindsight bias, like looking back, and it's like, oh, the price used to be 2 Ethereum, so why would I sell at 1 point something Ethereum? Like, you never know how low the price can go. You never know how high it can go.
Yeah.
And if you're steadily taking profits on the way up, then it's much easier approaching like that question, like, do I sell or not, with like a clear mind.
Yeah, and I mean, if you bought something for 2 ETH and it's down to 1.2, maybe it'll bounce back, but there's also a chance that you can take that 1.2 and move it into somewhere else
Yeah,
that could
exactly.
have a really higher chance of return, and a really
Yeah.
higher rate of return as well. So, don't be afraid. It's okay to sell at a loss. Not every NFT is going to be profitable long term. The majority won't. So just be mindful of that. And also, you have to look at your time horizon for all of this. Like, are you in it for the long game? Are you going to be here through an extended, maybe multi-year bear market? If you can't see that happening, then you might need to get out as well, right? Like, if your time horizon is like, oh, I was going to just look to turn this money into more money in a few months, well, that period may be gone. You may need to reassess and start planting some wheat to take advantage of these wheat
At this
prices
point, right?
that Daniel pointed out
Yeah.
earlier on. Yeah.
Yeah, and so just to add to all of this, with the question that you ask yourself, like, have the fundamentals changed? You really have to ask yourself, like, has the value changed? Has the price changed? So it's important to note that price isn't the same as value.
Am I back?
Yes.
Okay. Let's get
Welcome
right back
back.
into it then. We're
Yeah.
still
So
we're still recording. Here we go.
yeah. So basically, what I was talking about is that um, price isn't the same as value, right? So while the price may go down, if the team's fundamentals don't change and their core vision doesn't change and they're still building, that means their value hasn't ever gone down. So you always have to reflect and ask yourself the question, like, has the fundamentals changed? If the answer is no, nothing changed, except for the price, then it may still be a solid purchase.
Yeah. As a known Bored Ape holder, seeing the floor go from 118 ETH down to yesterday as low as, I think the cheapest sale was like 63.
Mm-hmm.
It's not great, but at the same time, I've seen these dips before. When the mutants came out, it went from 64 down to under 30 for a hot minute, and we've still seen the team come back and deliver, and I still believe in that project. So it's very true. Like, it's a big difference, especially now. People are panicking. They're getting their money out. So, follow these steps, really assess what's going on, and if you think that this is long-term going to be viable. So we've talked about kind of like the fundamentals of handling a bear market with your collection portfolio, but there's also a big mental side to all of this. And this is
Mm-hmm.
something that I do want to touch on. back in 2020 when COVID first hit, I was far more invested in the stock market than crypto at that point, and the stock market took an absolute beating. One thing that I had to do was realize that it was short lived, it was going to recover, and for me personally, I had to stop looking at my portfolio
Yeah,
for about 2 months. I think I went 2 months, from the worst day of the stock decline until I looked at it again, until it had rebounded a little bit. So just know that it's okay to stop looking at Coinbase or whatever place you have your crypto held. You don't need to be checking floor prices on OpenSea every day. Like, it's okay to avoid these things. And this also comes back to being overinvested, right, Dan?
definitely. I think it, like, not only overinvested, but I think it has also something to do about perhaps being new to the industry. Because when I first started, I was I was looking at like this app on my phone every minute of the day, like looking at, yeah, like Ethereum prices. Oh no, the price of my NFT went down by 0.01 Ethereum. And I think like over the time you kind of like evolve as a person, and you become way more uh, what is it called, resilient to these things.
Yeah.
And like today I looked at the price of Ethereum and I was like, okay, like I don't really care. And
It's
I think
honestly better than I thought it was going to be.
yeah, it's like Ethereum in general has kind of went up a little bit since I think yesterday, but it's just you just kind of get used to it. I think like you kind of get used to seeing your NFTs like become worthless. You can see you can become used to seeing the price go up. It's all about zooming out and like making the right decisions based on what you think is right. Like if you think investing in a long-term play to earn is the right decision, then you should do that. And then if you do that, if you have the right conviction, then you become way less concerned about the price of things.
Yeah. Having that, like we talked about, the long time horizon and not
Yeah,
being overinvested and not, if you're struggling to pay the bills, yeah, you need to get some of that money out
yeah,
probably, right? Like, you can't
yeah,
feed your family cat JPEGs.
yeah.
They got to eat. That's not going
If
to pay
only,
them,
right?
if only. So, just keep that in mind too. Of the more of these you go through, the better at you're going to be with handling it. And I'm not smart enough to try to time the bottom, and I don't want to miss the bounce back, which is the same thing that happens every time. Like, would it have been great if I would have sold everything like a month ago? Yeah, but I
Yeah,
can't. I'm not gonna try to get in the head of the people who are causing this to happen and try to analyze that. So I'm in it for the long haul. I'm gonna be here through the bear market. I know Dan is too. So just keep that in mind, and you know, don't check the prices every day if it causes you stress. And the same can be said for social media. I remember back when COVID started. I'll go back to COVID again. My wife had to like basically kick me off of Twitter because I was totally doom scrolling. Like, we
yeah.
had a rule in the house. If I was scrolling Twitter and she heard me sigh 3 times, she would take my phone and go put it in the other room because she was like, I'm not dealing with you doom scrolling Twitter. I was like, that's probably a good call. So if all the FUD on Twitter or all the shit posting on Twitter is really bothering you, get away from Twitter for a little bit. Get off of Discord if you need to. Some of those things can be very toxic, and that in turn can make you or help cause you to make unreasonable
Yeah,
decisions and ones that you wouldn't make otherwise.
yeah. And in general, NFTs can be very time consuming without them actually being time consuming. If you really engage with NFTs, you're stuck on Discord, you're stuck on Twitter, you're stuck looking at prices and comparing, like reading roadmaps all day, and to a point where it's just everything you do in the like for your whole day. So it's important to take some time off, go for a walk, do something fun with your family,
Yep.
uh, and that also gives you like a clear mind to make your more sensible decisions. If you're stuck here doing the same thing every day, like day in day out, you're gonna make poor decisions.
Yeah, and if you work full time and NFTs are your hobby, maybe find a little bit different of a hobby for the next few months and allocate less time to NFTs because we could be in a bear market for a while. And I know me personally, with the kiddo at home and trying to work my day job and FLOLiO stuff, like it can bog you down a little bit. And making time to do stuff that you enjoy outside of this is really important. So,
Definitely.
we've talked about the portfolio side. We talked about the mental side a little bit. I do think that bear markets are where people can make a really good financial stand and can learn a lot. It's you don't learn a ton from winning, but you do learn a lot from losing.
Oh yeah,
Whether
definitely.
in every aspect of life. So,
Yeah.
what are some of the things that you feel like we can take away from the bear market, Dan?
Yeah, I think it's um, have conviction in stuff you do. I think it's have a clear mind. No, like for example, if you think that photography is the future or something, right? Or metaverse stuff. If you have your money in those types of things, then you become way less concerned about the fluctuations in the bear market as well. And what do
Yeah.
you think about the main takeaways?
you know, Looking back, and it's tough to in the moment like learn from these things because it is very stressful. But you know, becoming more self-aware of what these
Yeah,
market cycles look like, and like we talked about, taking profits on the way up the next time we do bounce
yeah,
out of this thing, because it'll happen eventually. Not every project is going to survive this. Like, let's
yeah,
be very, very clear. Some of them are going to zero,
yeah.
but plenty of them will bounce back. And in that euphoria of seeing the numbers start to go back up, remember to take profits next time, okay? And not only that, remember to convert those profits from ETH into fiat currency, so you have some dry powder sitting on the side. That was one lesson that I've learned, and I'm happy I did. And I think
Definitely.
you also need to potentially reassess what your risk tolerance actually is. Coming out of 2020, there was all sorts of financial stimulus that led to that huge bull market that made it through 2021. And we're not going to see that this time around, not in the United States at least. Like, they're not going to slash interest rates. There's not going to be free money being sent out. So the the comeback from this is going to be a lot slower than it was a few years ago. It's going to be a lot slower even than in 2008. It's going to be a slog to get back to where we were probably. And that's the expectation I'm having. And if it's faster than that, great. But just be aware that this could be a slow build back up. And speculative markets like NFTs are not for everyone,
Hmm.
right? Like, I have plenty of my friends who have asked me about NFTs, and I've kind of like pushed them away from it because I know that like financially they cannot stomach risk, and that's okay. Like, reassess if this really is the right thing for you to be investing in or collecting, and have a and don't be, if it's not, then that's okay. Like, if you got to invest in bonds or mutual funds or whatever, we don't need to get into all that stuff. Find a safer investment. If you want to go get gold bars and bury them in your backyard, I guess that's an option too. But reassessing that your risk tolerance, and being honest with yourself about it is a pretty important thing that you can learn during a bear market.
Yeah, definitely. And like I never expected me to be able to handle this so well. Um, I have a pretty like a addictive personality. I become like hooked on gambling, on stocks pretty quickly. And like ever since
So
I entered the
nothing
NFT,
Daniel says is financial
yes,
advice. Just
please,
a reminder.
please do not do what I do. Uh, but like with this whole bear market, it's pretty interesting to see how I myself am handling this. And for me personally, like it's what I've been saying this whole episode is I can handle everything way better knowing that the stuff I'm investing in is stuff I really believe in.
Mhm.
And with that in mind, I just sleep easy at night, basically.
Yeah, years of playing poker for a living prepared me to
Oh
have a
yeah,
general disregard for money, and just kind of view it as like the currency of competition almost,
yeah,
which is how I view things. Like, I'm a competitive person, so for me, like, the NFT market's kind of a competition of like, okay, I want to win. I want to make sure that I'm standing when the dust settles. So knowing that you can handle risk is very important. And if things go sideways, knowing when to cut and run and how to learn from it is really crucial. So as we wrap up, Dan, what do you think is next for yourself, and what would you recommend? Not financial advice coming from the addictive guy. for the people who are watching this.
I think I think what is next for me, at least personally, is I think I'm going to be super careful investing in new projects right now. I think that like it already used to be very hit or miss, but especially now, I think if you really want to invest, I think you should look at a more established project, a project that has a known history, have a clear roadmap, and I have shown to add value. And I would definitely keep some Ethereum, keep some fiat ready to reinvest whenever you're ready. But for me myself, I'm just gonna sit at the sideline, looking at the market, looking at everything on fire, and seeing whenever the time is right for me to buy into like a project, such as Cool Cats or Azuki, or like one of those types of projects.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're in a similar space there. I've sold some stuff. I'm gonna keep playing around with a few mints here and there because it's fun. But
Yeah.
for the most part, not doing anything crazy. What I am gonna do is start using the tools that we're building on FLOLiO.
Ooh.
I had to get it in here at the end.
You have to say it.
So the bosses, I don't know if they're okay with me saying this, but the site should be going live this week. So Mike and Chris, don't dock my pay for this, but the site should be going live this week. You tested out a shit ton over the weekend, Dan. I tested out a little bit as well. You've been working hard on that. From what I've seen on the site and what I've used and the tools, I think it's going to be really cool. Like
Yeah.
I'm personally pretty stoked for what is to come. It's not going to be perfect right off the bat. There are going to be bugs, but the team building it is very receptive to fixing those bugs. So I'm pretty
it's free.
pumped.
At least
And
for
it
now.
is free.
So
Yes.
try it out.
Yes. I put it out there the other day. If you're paying for a browser extension to give you data on OpenSea, or if you're thinking about it, hold off a little bit because
Yeah.
we have a free one coming that I think is going to rival the paid ones. So keep an eye out for that. We will be blasting it out on Twitter as soon as the site is live. We'll have ways for you to give feedback if you want us to give feedback, things that you like, don't like. We're happy to listen to it. So that is what is next coming for FLOLiO, and I am very excited because we're going to have some really cool stuff.
Definitely.
So I think that is a good place to wrap it for today. For Dan, for the team at FLOLiO, I am Jeremy Weber. Thank you once again for joining us. And just remember, a few deep breaths. We're going to make it through this together. I love you guys very much. Have a great rest of your week. Take it easy.
All right.